Hello, I'm Lugatorix and welcome to my Scythia Faction Guide for Rome Total War. So today we're going to be looking at the Scythian units, the buildings available and their strategy on the campaign map. First of all, I'd like to say that I am very soon planning a Scythia campaign of my own, so if you want to see this in a lot more detail then I will be going through it in my campaign, but I am going to do a quick guide here today as well. Now, Scythia is not a traditionally playable faction in the game, but it can be unlocked using the editing the data files. You can find many tutorials on the internet of how to do that. But Scythia start off in this region out here, and actually they have one of the largest areas of land, probably the largest area of land of any of the factions in the game that they start off with, but there are problems with that which I'll go through in a second. It seems like they're in a good starting position, but it's not the best really if you think about it. But yeah, first we'll have a look at what units they have. The game describes Scythia as master horsemen and archers, but almost no melee infantry, and that is not an exaggeration. Their horses are great, but their melee infantry, there is only one unit I believe that is, well, two if you count archers, but one unit that is dedicated melee infantry. So not exactly great on that front, but we'll have a look at that in very short amount of time. And here we are, this is the Scythia faction, and as you can see it's pretty much all cavalry, but we'll start off from the left, and that is peasants. Same as usual, they're terrible, I wouldn't use them for anything other than fillers really. Now next up are the Axman, and this is the only melee infantry the Scythians get. They obviously have access to mercenaries, but dedicated Scythian melee troops that you can produce other than archers, it's just these Axmen. Now they're pretty decent. They've got an attack of 11, defense of 9, and a charge bonus of 5. I do quite like the Axmen. They've got good morale as well, but obviously other factions like Rome, for example, will have a lot better infantry, like urban cohort. So an issue with Scythia is if you're facing, let's say, the Romans at the end, if you're going to go into a melee fight with the Romans, you will lose after the pre-Marian reforms. You'll probably lose before those reforms, but definitely afterwards. These guys won't be able to stand up to urban cohort and all that. But these guys are still pretty good, particularly in the early game. I quite like them. You know, they'll do a solid job. Honestly though, if you play a Scythia, you will rely on cavalry as opposed to these guys, but they're nice just to have. Next up, the basic archers. Archer warband, 7 missile attack, attack of 3 and defense of 5. Relatively basic. I think like all these factions that are barbarian get these archer warband. They will do a basic job, but they're not the most incredible archers in the game. But they're solid, and it's nice to have a few missile troops at the beginning of the game that aren't on horseback. But if you compare them to the horsemen that have arrows as well, you probably won't use these guys a lot really, because they're just inferior. Next up are the chosen archer warband. These guys are quite a bit better in my opinion. Now on the missile attack front, not really. They only have a missile attack of 1 more than the basic archer warband, but they are a lot better in a melee attack and defense, which, as I said, as the Scythians don't have a lot of access to melee infantry, it's quite nice to have a versatile unit that can fight in the melee if they have to, and also has a missile attack, so that's pretty nice as well. Next up are the Warhounds. I think quite a few factions get these. Relatively simple. I don't use Warhounds a lot. They're quite good to chase off people and maybe scare stuff, but honestly they're okay, but you have so much better cavalry, you're never really going to use Warhounds. Now, first up, Barbarian Cavalry. Now Barbarian Cavalry is the weakest of the Scythian cavalry really. 8 attack, 10 defense with a decent charge bonus of 7, but they don't have good morale in my opinion. They do break relatively easy. They're good for a nice charge. I don't know what I'd sort of compare them to. Probably kind of like Equites in the sense that they're fast moving and they won't stand up to them a lot, but they've got a pretty good charge on them if you like chasing off enemies or something like that. Next up, the Hunting Maidens. So these are light cavalry who are useful against skirmishers and missile troops, it says. 9 attack, 11 defense with an 8 charge bonus, and they're fast moving and good morale as well. So these guys don't have a missile attack, but they are good fast cavalry. They're basically a better version of these. Honestly, they're a better version of the Equites in my opinion. That's what it seems like by looking at this. Next up are Cillian Nobles. These are superb horsemen who are armoured lancers who can put away many infantry units to flight. So these have lances, and they're basically like long spears, and they'll just charge and hold them out like so. They have a good morale, which is nice, decent defense, not the best attack, but with the charge bonus, that's when they get decent, and that's when the cavalry always gets good, is with the charge bonus. Next up, Barbarian Warlord. This is the general, the pre-Marian general. For some reason, the Marian reformers seem to have an impact on everyone, including the Scythians. This is the pre-Marian Barbarian Warlord. 12 attack, 13 defense. Not a great charge, but it's okay. These guys are alright. They are swordsmen, basically on horseback. And yeah, I quite like them. They'll do a decent job. Obviously, the post-Marian warlords are better. They have a better defense, for example, and a better charge bonus. And they have excellent morale, which is great. Any troop with excellent morale is a good troop, in my opinion. Next up, Scythian horse archers. I quite like Scythian horse archers. I am doing my mercenary campaign at the moment as Egypt, and these guys are quite nice to have as mercenaries. And they'll do a decent job on the battlefield as well. They're fast moving, they've got a missile attack, they're hard to hit, they don't hit hard themselves, but yeah, they're hard to get to, which can be annoying if you're playing against Scythians. I know that a lot of people find the Scythians annoying for several reasons on the campaign map, but in terms of the actual fighting, it's just annoying to try and catch all this fast cavalry that can hit you, but you can't hit back, and the horse archers are a good example of this. Scythian noble women, next up, have a decent attack and defense. They have a pretty decent missile attack as well. They have a good morale, which is nice. Relatively similar. I would probably go with the Scythian horse archers have a lower melee attack and defense, so I suppose they're not as good. But there's less of these noble women in a unit, so I don't know if the costs outweigh the benefits on that one. Matter of personal preference, I'd probably go with the horse archers myself. And then the Scythian noble archers, probably the best that Scythia get, or one of the best in terms of horse archers. A good attack and defense with a charge bonus. These guys can be used as melee or missile attack, which is nice to have. And they have a nice missile attack. They're well armoured, good morale. So these guys, with most missile cavalry in the game, what will happen is they'll run out of arrows and they'll cease to become useful. Not these guys, they will still be useful. They can still get a good charge in, and they can rout enemies. That's nice. And then finally, in terms of siege equipment, all the barbarian factions don't get a lot. It's just basic onagers. You've probably all seen them before. So next up, we'll have a look at the campaign map, and I'll give some tips on the strategy of what I would use to win the campaign in Scythia, and I will show you at a later date that in reality, hopefully.
Before my grandfather's grandfather was born, this was our land. These are good places. Our gods live here, in the trees and rivers. They watch over us. We are happy. We hunt. We love. We have families, homes, a good life. But sometimes we must fight. The Romans disturb the gods. They burn the forests. They take what is ours, wives, children, land. The Romans talk of how they will help us and protect us. They put us to sleep with golden promises. When we wake, all we had is gone, stolen. They take our sons and turn them into little Romans. Ha! So we fight to keep what is ours. What must stay ours. There can be no peace. No peace with Romans, men of stone and iron and lies. There can be only war.
So yeah, that was just a generic barbarian video you watched there, because as I said previously, the game never anticipated you playing a Scythia really, so they didn't bother to make a faction video specifically for the Scythians. So this is the Scythian starting position. As you can see, it's a huge area. It really is. You can get a large amount of territory in a very small amount of time, but as you can see, it's only actually 4 territories, so it's not really that amazing. It's only 1 more than the Roman faction start off with. Yes, that's correct. No, sorry, it's 2 more. The Romans start off with 2, but what I'm saying is, it's only 1 more than, let's say, the Armenians start off with. So it's a large faction, but it's over a huge area of land. Kind of a similar problem to the Seleucids. The Seleucids have the problem that their territory is spread all over this region, like that, the Scythians spread over this huge region. For example, to get to this settlement, to Campus Scythia, look at the distance you have to travel. It's ridiculous. And just to sort of prove that, I'll get one unit, let's say of archers. If I wanted to move them from there to there, it doesn't even let me. It doesn't even let me see that far. It's probably a good 7 or 8 turns. So that's something you might want to consider. But anyway, first of all, we'll have a look at different settlements and what they've got. There's a spy here, but also we have the faction leader, 2 archer warband, and 3 Scythian horse archers. That's a pretty decent starting army. That can do a lot of trouble because these guys are hard to get and the archers are always quite annoying to face anyway in Rome Total War. But these 3, they'll do an annoyingly good job against other factions. That's a decent starting army, and I'll explain what I would do with it in a second. Next up, this place here, Tanais. I'm sorry, my pronunciation isn't that great. Again, 3 Scythian horse archers, they'll do a job. And Belnarir, oh my goodness, I won't even say that. The heavy general, the cavalry. And have a look at his unit. They don't get a melee attack, do they? Don't know why I can't see that, but anyway, yeah, this is a decent army, and I would use them to attack this settlement, but we'll talk about that in a second as well. I wonder if there's, yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to move that spy so I can actually see that settlement. Oh, that would have been nice if he actually moved. No. Playing up a little bit today. There we go. So yeah, there's a settlement over here. Up here, right up in the middle of nowhere, only 2 archer warband, not a great army. And then over here, Campus Alani is probably your best army, or one of your best. 3 Scythian horse archers and 2 archer warband is over here. Now, where would I start? Well, a good place to start is looking at what enemies are around. There's actually quite a few enemies around Scythia, but a lot of them aren't that threatening. So I'm going to toggle the Fog of War just so you can see them. Wouldn't normally play like that, but just so you can see the enemies. Over here, you have the Parthians, with 1 settlement up here. Campus Sarke, I don't know how to say that. It's got a decent garrison. Now, honestly, I don't have a problem with the Parthians. As Scythia, you shouldn't really worry about them because the only other Parthian territories are down here. So far away, these 2 will never meet. In which case, there's not really much point going to war with Parthia. Now, what you can hope is that at some point, this army will move out and you can just go and take it. Or you get strong enough and you can just take it anyway, just to get this corner of the map. But honestly, I wouldn't bother getting toward Parthia. They're not much of a threat up here, in my opinion. So an alliance, maybe using this diplomat, would be a good idea until they leave and you can backstab them. They have a ship over here, so hopefully that army would move into that ship and go south, at which point you can just take that easy peasy. That should be the plan. You've got a decent army here as well, but I would tend to move it in this direction. Over in the south you have Armenia, and it's a similar issue for them. I wouldn't bother going to war. The Armenians are not going to focus against you. They're going to focus on the Seleucids that are down south. And look at the distance you have to travel to get to the Armenian capital all the way up to your settlement. Huge amount of area. They're not going to bother attacking you. In which point you can either make an alliance or you could just ignore them and they'll probably ignore you. So I wouldn't bother expanding this direction. As for this settlement here, Chersonesos, it has only 3 garrison. I'm not fully aware of what that garrison is, but it shouldn't affect you, in all honesty. This army here is good enough and big enough to take on Chersonesos, and that's what I just do straight away. That's easy, and you've got a couple of mercenaries, more Scythians if you need it. Honestly, that should be an easy place to get, in my opinion. You can just skirmish around them, it'll be fine. Now, what would I do over here? Well, there's a nice rebel settlement over here. That's a logical starting point. There's a couple over here, which is easy to get. The Germanians shouldn't go for them, to be honest. The Germanians will probably go for Bordersholm, and they'll start expanding south, maybe take on Gaul. Basically, this settlement up here, Themyscira, is quite difficult to get. I wouldn't get them for a while. This is a hard settlement to take, and it's just not worth it in the early game, to be honest. It's quite nice to have a bit of gold, but there's better stuff. There's more stuff. These settlements aren't profitable, but it will expand your empire, and it's just a logical starting point. Easy places. So I would build up a little army over here, and then these guys can just sweep these guys. Like, these 2 settlements here, easy to take. Possibly this one as well, but that's a little bit close to the German land. But these 2, easy to take. Now, where would I start with this army? Because you've got a large army here. I would not focus on the Dacians and the Thracians at the same time. That seems like a bit of a mistake to me. Now, this Thracian settlement isn't that well defended, but it's okay. The Dacians are definitely weaker than the Thracians, so I would go toward the Dacians first, and I would extend my empire around here, at which point you're kind of encircling the Thracians, and, hopefully for you, the Macedonians should be attacking the Thracians, possibly. They might go for the Greeks instead, but it's more likely, it's likely anyway, the Macedonians will go for the Thracians, at which point they'll have their armies divided, and you can take Campus Getae and Tylis and Byzantium easily, and then you've got a pretty decent empire. So I would go for the Dacians first, then focus on the Thracians personally. You could do it the other way around. I would get a diplomat and have an alliance with one, and then attack the other, and then backstab the other. It doesn't really matter which way around you do it, but I would go for the Dacians first. I wouldn't bother going to war against the Germanians. Too much effort at the early game. But yeah, these guys I'd focus on, and then once you've got huge armies, and you're starting to get strong, then you could pounce on Macedonia, at which point the Brutii will be here, and it's going to be a huge mess, but you just got to storm down from the north and sweep this whole area. That's not easy to do, but I quite like the Scythian army. I think it shouldn't be too bad. But the logical starting point is taking on Dacia and Thrace, opposed to expanding in the Middle East. It doesn't make sense to me. So start moving your armies in this direction is the main advice. Now, finally, I will go through the buildings that the the Scythian faction has. Scythia has relatively generic barbarian buildings, I believe, if I can just have a quick look. So yeah, same as usual: walls, barracks, stables, ranges, traders, smiths, ports, farms, roads, mines, taverns. You've seen that all before in my other videos. But 3 temples which are unique to the Scythians. First of all, Shrine to Pape. Pronunciation is probably not great. The highest level is level 3, and you can get a 30% public order bonus from happiness and law combined. So if you've got a bit of trouble in your settlement in terms of public order, that is the Sacred Circle or the temple to choose. Next up, Sacred Circle of Api. You get a population growth bonus of 1.5%, which is good. I quite like that. And the public order bonus as well. Any shrine that has a population growth bonus, if used correctly, is quite useful in my opinion. So that's quite good. And then the last one, Sacred Circle of Calaxe, a public order bonus of 15% and plus 3 experience bonus to troops. So if you have a military sort of area, that is the temple to use. And that's all the generic buildings for the Scythians. But yeah, as I said, the difficulty with the Scythians is they have a huge area, and it's hard to move troops from here to over here, for example. But the army is, I'd say it's quite overpowered for Rome Total War. Skirmishing is quite overpowered in my opinion. And that's what makes the Scythians annoying to play against and good to play with. You don't have to put a huge amount of effort into it. You know, the AI does a lot of it for you, which is good. But that's all I have to say, really. Keep an eye out for my Scythian campaign. It might already be out by the time this video comes, I'm not sure. But if it's not, then it'll be out within the next couple of days. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be back with more faction guides, more mercenary challenge, and the start of the Scythian campaign very, very soon. Thank you very much, and goodbye.